Welcome to Our Aftermarket. My name's Glen Shepherd. I'm director at Glen Callum Associates Limited. I'm going to be interviewing some of the aftermarket's top brass with a focus really on looking at the careers that are available within the supply chain. Over the next few episodes, we'll be talking to Neil Grant, Steve Jarnett, and also Nigel Duffield, all of whom have progressed within the industry to senior roles. So it's going to be interesting to see their specific stories and how they've progressed their own careers with a view that we're promoting aftermarket careers and opportunities that exist now, and also the opportunities that will be available in the future too. First we have Nigel Duffield, who's Northern European Director for Phinia Delphi Limited. Welcome, Nigel.
Thanks, Glenn.
What better way to explore careers than looking at Nigel's career and how he's developed over the last few years. But what we'd like to do, Nigel, is just to get a bit of an understanding of where did it all start? How did you get into the aftermarket, and what did you do before you joined the aftermarket?
Yeah, it's a good question. So thanks, Glenn, and thanks for having me. So yeah, how did I get into the aftermarket? So a little bit by accident, I have to say. So I was always interested in cars, which the aftermarket is about. My dad always had nice cars and different cars. So when I went into sixth form at school, it wasn't anything to do with cars. It was about being a structural draftsman. And I did a year of A-levels, and I remember an engineer, very fondly, called Paul Jewson, who invited me for an interview at Our Partners, which was a consulting engineering firm. Okay. And I remember going there for 5 years, doing an ONC and a HNC in structural engineering and building studies. Yeah. And then in the mid-80s, the economy did this like it normally does, and the first to be hit was the building industry. Yeah. So to answer your question, what happened was I got made redundant 3 times in the 80s, and my mum cut out a little bit of an advert in the paper, the Birmingham Evening Mail, that said there was a job at Bridgestone Tyres. Yeah. And it was at Junction 2 of the M5, which you know well, Oldbury. Yeah. And I went for an interview along with 400 other people. Wow. And there were 3 positions available, and I got it as a trainee, what they called a trainee technician. Yeah. So that was basically starting off right at the bottom in the warehouse, putting tyres away. Yeah. And then that gave me an opportunity to work in all the different departments of that supplier. The reason I wanted to invite you today is because I've actually taken great pleasure at seeing your career, elevate from when we originally met. Yeah. So it'd be good just to give people watching this a flavour of the type of positions that you've held and been involved with, so we can see the diversity and the way that you've grown. So yeah, I think that's a great question, and for anybody watching, I'll do a quick potted history. So I went as a trainee technician as a draftsman. So I went to college to do an ONC and a HNC, and then I swapped career and got into the automotive. So warehouse foreman, IT. Yeah. So I worked in the IT department for 2 years, learning about systems. That's where I learned to use all the Microsoft Office products well. So Excel, Word, all of those kind of things. And then went into the marketing department within Bridgestone. So that was a marketing specialist, so looking at a certain sector of tyres. Then went into the customer service department. So the customer service, that's actually the hot end of it. So answering calls from the customer, which is our distributor. And then from there, actually got the responsibility of going out in a car with an area to look after a budget, which is an amount of money that you've got to turn over every year, not only on car tyres, but then on truck tyres. Then went into a different supplier, so looking after shock absorbers and looking after exhausts, and did the same kind of role with a regional area. Then went inside to do a marketing role, so looking after exhausts as a product group. So that's getting to know the nitty-gritty about data. It's about product types, it's about competition, all that kind of stuff. And then the next step was to go back, not backwards is the wrong word, but a very important role, which is where we met. So I kind of went back to work for one of our customers, which is a distributor. So it was a large automotive motor factor. Yeah. So it was independently owned at the time, so turning over around 4 million. And that was to be the right-hand man of the owner. The owner, yeah. And that was probably the greatest experience, I have to say, that I got out of this, and that gave me a lot of insight into what I was doing later, because that customer is 24/7, so it's like lots of vans delivering lots of parts every 15 minutes to 800 garages. Yeah. So then from there, back to a supplier, and that was in a senior role as a UK sales manager, then as a UK sales director. And then essentially today, skipping forward to kind of like a country director. So that's kind of like looking after a mini business unit. So that's looking after a marketing department, a technical department, a sales department. So that's where we are. So that role, not roller coaster, that kind of that career, but it started off at the bottom and understanding the basics about what we do as a business, and that gives you the skills and the knowledge then to work a little bit further up.
You've obviously honed your skills over the years. What sort of skills do you think you've gained from working within the automotive aftermarket over the last decade or so?
Okay, well, the skills I've gained are many. So I'm thinking of the first one that comes to mind is dealing with people. It's getting over situations with commercial agreements. It's actually knowing the products. And it's actually working not just with external people, but working with internal teams. I think teams within suppliers, I'm at the moment, are like an F1 team. Yeah. So you've got to get on internally as well as externally. And I think I've also learned that patience as well. So one thing that I like to think is that you do your time served and then you get to the next position. And if you show enough ambition, then if you're good at what you do, you'll get on. So, yeah.
Okay, and for those that are not so familiar with the aftermarket, because obviously part of what we're trying to do is promote our industry outside the sector to bring in new skills, new experiences into our sector. Where do you see and what type of opportunities do you see within our sector that maybe either mirror other sectors or areas that are kind of unique to us?
It's a great question. I think areas that mimic other or mirror other industries are that in my business at the moment, there's a logistical department, there's a sales department, there's a digital media department, there's a marketing department, and there's a HR department. Yeah. So all of these businesses still have the same internal organisation. It's just that it happens to be in the automotive aftermarket. So there's lots of areas that you can actually get into. And I think all of the companies also have very, very good web pages where they advertise their positions as well. Yes. So, and it also tell you a lot about the company. Yeah. But it's really about how we get youngsters to be interested in the automotive aftermarket. And that's, I think, why we're here today. Absolutely. And I think also looking at one of the areas that we're going to focus on over the next few months is looking at adjacent sectors, allied sectors, to bring in people in that are probably more experienced, because a lot of the businesses that we trade with are looking for existing skills. So, in terms of the type of opportunities that your present employer has, I mean, where do you see the opportunities for more experienced candidates? Okay, so in our current business today, so new opportunities are in the areas of media. So social media, that's a big part of what we do. Instead of magazines now, everything goes online. So content creation, things like that. We also have a big training part of our business. So we have our new technical centre in Warwick. A lot of that is promoting that business and promoting it online. That's very, very important. And I suppose the other one, the big one, is IT. So companies like ourselves are always investing heavily in new IT. So our new SAP system, that requires people that understand what they're doing in a different kind of function. But also not just about SAP, but how it integrates into our automotive business. So those are the kind of areas that are new. The other area that we're seeing a lot of acceleration in our industry, Nigel, is customers and businesses have a thirst for data and driving information and making decisions through, gaining better quality data and lots of it. Are you seeing that reflective in your business right now? Yeah, 100%. A drive for data, everybody wants it now. The younger generation need to see data. So a great example of that, for example, is we used to use a manual booking system for our new training centre. Okay. So with all of our courses on a spreadsheet, people used to look at the website and then ring up and try and book one. So now we've automated that into an automatic booking system where they can see everything online. They can see what time they want to book it, who it's with, what date. I know it sounds simple, but there is a thirst thirst for that data, and certainly in our products as well. So, our products, to diversify them from the competition, it's important that we get across all the good things about our products and why people should buy them.
Yeah.
And again, that's a marketing thing, but it's in a different format now. It's not on paper, it's not printed. It's really about on social media, so people can get it for their thirst for data immediately. Yeah. It's online and on that phone. So a lot of opportunities in that respect.
So therefore, careers, so within that sector, there is someone that has to, one, design that type of system, two, 100%. Implement it, three, maintain it, update it.
Yes.
So again, we're looking at, careers that are probably non-automotive biased in some respects.
Correct. It's like a general role. It could be in lots of different types of industries, and I think the thing is, it's not starved in our industry. There's lots of that.
Yeah.
They're still there, but they're in the automotive industry as well. So people shouldn't see it as an automotive job. It's a general job, but happens to be in the automotive industry
Absolutely,
as well.
Yeah. So looking at that, that situation sort of on a wider scale, do you think that we do enough to promote our jobs and our industry and the careers within our industry to wider allied sectors? Do you think we could do more, to promote our jobs into different areas and look at bringing in skills from allied sectors? And if so, what could we do?
It's a great question. Promoting our industry is so important for us because it's the lifeblood of the future. I think I'll give you an example. Recently, I've got two lads. One of them is just going to university. We went to the NEC in Birmingham to a jobs fair, and the only automotive business that were there were JLR. There was nothing else to do with automotive at all. So I think, yes, we do need to promote our industry. How we do that, of course, is, we've got our own ideas, but I think it needs to come from the top of our businesses, the people that are running it. And, the strategy can be, we want to drive this company forward, we want to make more money, but there also needs to be a strategy around how we attract people to it, because they're going to be the lifeblood of this company when we're all gone. We've got
Auto Mechanic coming up 2025. Do you think that's going to be a great platform, especially being Birmingham based? Is that going to be a great platform for us to elevate careers and opportunities within the automotive aftermarket, independent automotive?
I think there's no better place to elevate our business than at a show like Auto Mechanica. It's a bi-yearly thing. We have lots of different levels of the trade attending that, as well as the public. So, the public need to understand what we do, because, the public, let's face it, the kids of the public are going to be the next people in our, or the next generation of people in our industry. So Auto Mechanica is a great place. We not only have people from our industry there, but we have people from outside of the industry, and I think that's the key thing. We all know what we're doing in the independent aftermarket. It's about trying to understand, or get people to understand, outside of the automotive aftermarket what we're doing and attract people to it.
Okay, and sort of as for your own business right now, Phinia Delphi, what exciting developments have you got sort of happening? If you're able to share any of those with us right now.
Yeah, it's a good question. Phinia Delphi have lots of plans, and constantly talking about strategies. We want to understand, how our growth's going to be in the next 5 years, and not only how we're going to get there with our growth and our numbers, but the things we're going to put in place to get there. And part of that has got to be the people, and part of that has got to be the roles.
Yes.
And, those roles, as you said earlier, those roles will change. So, as a commercial guy, so I'll go back and say, well, I think I can get to that number by 2030, but I need X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
And in that comes resource, it comes in different jobs and lots of things. So, lots of things happening and lots of plans. And that's what's exciting about our industry, and it's what people don't see, I suppose, because, our strategies are talked about every single day, and our leadership team, our ELT, are constantly talking about these things. Lots of exciting things.
And reflecting back, Nigel, if you're reflecting on your career, and obviously, you've risen to, being quite a senior director in a very corporate business. When you think of all those, years back, when you joined Bridgestone, did you ever foresee that you'd be where you are today?
I have to say I was driven. I didn't, if I'm honest. I thought it was a different kind of industry for me to get into, but I loved cars. So I think you're always driven by your interests. Yeah. But one thing for me, I think that's worth mentioning is that all of these companies that you see, they've all got these types of roles in. Yeah. we put things in boxes and we logistically take them to people.
Absolutely.
That concept is the same for lots of other businesses. So, it's for the people that are listening to this, and certainly the younger generation, is that all these things that you're probably looking at in another company exist in our business as well.
Yeah.
So I think, I think it's been very good to me, this industry. We can't get anywhere without drive. There's always been drive there.
Yeah.
And the challenge and meeting that challenge and trying to do your best. So that goes hand in glove with anything, not just the automotive industry. But, I've been very happy with it. And what I'm also amazed at is the great people that I meet in this industry.
Yeah.
The different types of people. And they've come from different areas. You'll meet a person who has probably been at a company for 25, 30 years. You'll meet another interesting person that's been there 12 months that's come from a different industry. And there's this old adage, isn't there, that once you're in this independent aftermarket, you can't get out.
Absolutely.
So that's probably where I am at the moment.
Yeah, and with an industry that turns 24 billion alone in the UK, should we not be, a candidate's career of choice rather than sort of stumbling into our industry, and can we do more to get that message across, in terms of how much our industry contributes towards the economy.
100%. To kind of like showcase what we actually give is huge. And that comes down to us doing this today.
Yeah.
But also lots of other people doing it as well. And I know that you've got some other interviewees that they're going to do the similar kind of thing. And I think the more of that we do, the better. On this kind of media platform, it's very important as well. People tend to watch these kind of things now.
Absolutely.
So, I think it's very important that we group together. I think about the body that works very hard behind this, which is the IAAF.
Yes.
And the guys and girls there do a fantastic job. They're a small team.
Absolutely.
And it kind of puts it into perspective to me. You've got this whole £26 billion industry.
Yeah.
And the independent aftermarket, with the IAAF and the good work that they do, that small body of people promote this. And I think we all need to get together and help and do that.
And I think as an industry, we look to allied sectors, of course, and there are lots of allied sectors out there that reflect and mirror the aftermarket in many facets. One of them being, let's say, the building and construction market.
Yes.
They've got tools, they've got products that go onto site, they've got builders merchants, which are a little bit like our motor factors. So, what sort of message would you give to an individual looking to maybe get out of the construction market or reflective market? What's the big thing? What's the big draw for the aftermarket?
Well, I think the big draw is it's the jobs that you're doing now. I'll take the plumbing industry as a great example.
Yeah.
So the plumbing industry is very similar to the automotive industry in terms of where it's gone in history.
100%.
So it's consolidated. But all of those products that you see maybe in Screwfix or maybe in Plumbase, they're all products that need managing, they need pricing, they need selling in boxes, and they need delivering to the customer.
Absolutely.
That's exactly the same thing that we do, except we do it with automotive parts.
And within the aftermarket, of course, we're talking about automotive, passenger car, light commercial vehicle, but there are lots of other aftermarkets that exist.
100%. Yeah, it's like we talked about marine earlier on. Marine's a huge business. Agricultural, industrial. So all of these things off-highway, they're all linked into a lot of the suppliers that offer jobs today.
Yeah.
So some of the big OE businesses are into all of those sectors. Yeah. So there's lots of scope for different interests. There's lots of scope for different roles. And like I say, I'd encourage anybody to look at an automotive business and delve into what they've got available for you.
It's been a pleasure having you on today, Nigel. Thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you for
asking me. And hopefully people out there will get a feel for what type of careers are going to be available in the aftermarket moving forward. Thanks very much.
100%. Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers.